The sky is falling, Rebirth isn't at TGS, the game has been cancelled, and we will never ever recover, ever again, even if there was a fire.
Even if there's a fire!
That kind of seems to be the sentiment going around for some people online right now in regards to 7 Rebirth not showing up on the Square Enix TGS lineup, but I think there is a lot more to analyze here in regards to when we might see Rebirth again. There's also some crazy rumors floating around in regards to Final Fantasy VII Remake potentially showing up on the next generation Switch, that Switch 2. So there's a lot of crazy news to go over. So if you like what you hear and anything sounds cool, feel free to click the like button, subscribe, and smash the bell icon with a / to stay up to date with my channel and some Final Fantasy news. So starting off with that really crazy Switch 2 FF7 Remake rumor, you may remember a few months ago there was a user by the name of I'm a Hero 2 leaking information about the rumored Final Fantasy IX Remake. Well, this person has returned and is now claiming that Square Enix has 2 development kits for the upcoming next-gen Switch, that rumored Switch 2, and apparently Final Fantasy VII Remake may potentially be a launch game for that Switch 2. And I guess the game is running so smoothly that it's as good as its PlayStation 5 counterpart. So again, take that with a very massive grain of salt. We don't know if we can trust that user. This one really just kind of came out of nowhere, but if that rumor does end up being true and the Switch 2 is very powerful and it has 7 Remake, that's awesome. The more people that get to play 7 Remake, the better. But let's go ahead and move on to this TGS Rebirth catastrophe. So earlier this week, Square Enix unveiled part of its TGS lineup for this year's event. Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis and Final Fantasy XVI were both listed to be a part of the lineup, which makes sense. Ever Crisis is releasing very soon, and they'll want to take advantage of any marketing opportunities they can to show off the game. They might even announce some cool event stuff for the game as well. As for 16, I think Square wants to keep pushing this game as much as possible, especially in Japan, to boost the game's sales numbers. As for DLC, it isn't out of the realm of possibility here. It is early to announce DLC, but that type of content takes a while to develop, so announcing a DLC here and releasing it a year from now is pretty standard for the gaming industry. But Rebirth is mysteriously absent from the lineup so far. Now, it is important to note that Square Enix has stated that they will add more games to the list in the coming weeks, but not having your biggest game of the next quarter show up on your TGS lineup immediately does seem odd. So why is this happening? Well, trusted industry insider Jeff Grubb is saying that he has heard that a state of play will be happening this month in September. Sony does usually hold these events in September, and having one this year act as a primer for TGS does make a lot of sense. And what big TGS game are we all expecting to see? Yeah, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Rebirth being at this rumored state of play makes all the sense in the world. You could show off a quick trailer complete with a firm release date that tells people more information is coming at this year's Tokyo Game Show. Boom! Rebirth now officially gets added to the TGS lineup and all is right in the world. Doing this is smart because it frees up more space at TGS for Square to show off the game in depth. You could give another slightly longer trailer, a PlayStation blog post, and a gameplay demonstration to show off the game's new mechanics and perhaps a specific boss battle. That idea, however, I will save for my final check-in video before TGS goes live, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that. We're gonna go in depth. What boss battle do I want to see at Tokyo Game Show? What gameplay mechanics do I want to see? What could be in a trailer? All of that we will go over very soon. So as for now, we'll just have to wait and see if Sony does in fact announce a state of play for September. And if they do, that blog post is going to be very, very telling, because if they focus on Japanese games and TGS, I think it's almost a given that Rebirth will in fact be at that state of play. The marketing cycle for this game has to start within the next couple of weeks because, again, the game is minimum 4 months away, maximum 6 months. And now would be the perfect time to get the ball rolling on the game's marketing. Now, it doesn't need as long as a runway of marketing time as Final Fantasy XVI did, because as weird as this is going to sound, 16 was technically a new IP. Sure, it's a Final Fantasy game, but it's a new story, new characters, new gameplay, a completely new approach to the franchise. So it was kind of an untested IP, and it really needed about a 6 to 12 month runway of marketing to kind of get the game out there and show people what it was all about. Final Fantasy VII doesn't really need that. 7 is so massive that it kind of stands next to the main Final Fantasy franchise as its own thing. Everyone knows 7. If you ask people to name a Final Fantasy, they're probably going to go back to 7. So it doesn't need a big runway of marketing time. It can do 6 months and probably be just fine. And on top of that, it is a Sony PlayStation exclusive. Sony doesn't have a ton of games coming out in the next 6 months. They've got Spider-Man 2 coming and then Rebirth. So they're going to want to push what they can, whether it's first party or third party, to really try and sell the PlayStation 5 and to make sure that these games are successful. So with that being said, that is the video. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think of these crazy rumors that Final Fantasy VII Remake could show up on the Switch 2, and do you think that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will show up at this rumored state of play for September? I am Curious Corduroy. Make sure to check out some of my previous videos at the end of this video here. I will see you guys in the next video. That's a lot of videos in one sentence. Please remember to always be excellent to one another.